However, if they catch a girl there that's underage, then it morphs into human trafficking automatically because that woman can't consent.
I have a question.
That's how they get the nexus.
All right, so tonight Diddy was arrested. Now they're saying tomorrow morning his charges will be released by the courts, but he was taken into custody. We don't have word if anybody else around him, his entourage or family members were arrested. We just know now that Diddy was arrested. Now, a lot of people are suspecting that trafficking will be a part of these charges. Now, we got Myron Gaines, who is an ex-Fed, all right? And he's explaining the trafficking involved with Diddy. I wanted y'all to hear this. Make sure y'all like the video and subscribe. We'll be right back after y'all hear what he got to say.
Could you, so sex trafficking, and I've heard a few, us YouTubers on here, obviously 99.9, and you're obviously the 0.1% that has worked in law enforcement. We're either like ghetto lawyers, or we're going off like what we either know from either our experience dealing with the criminal justice system, or just kind of like looking at these things a lot. Could you explain sex trafficking? Because I've heard, like, for example, like Whack 100 said, yo, well, if you fly a girl out and you fuck her, and if she alleges that there's an abuse there, well, the person crossed state lines, this and third, it's sex trafficking. And I'm like, damn, that's kind of like a very loose and broad, interpretation of what sex trafficking could be. What is sex trafficking? And where would a federal authority start to look at it in?
So I'm going to just kind of give the more practical agent side of it, right? So The thing with sex trafficking, and this is very contrary to what people think, it's not as common as people think it is, right? What people always conflate sex trafficking with is human smuggling. Bringing in illegal aliens into the United States for a sum or a fee. Those individuals are brought into the United States. Their families are being extorted, etc. That's human smuggling. Now, does it lead to human trafficking later on when they get into the United States and they're forced to work jobs or whatever it may be? Of course. But people often conflate human smuggling with human trafficking, which are two completely different crimes. One is, AUSC 1324. The other one is a far more serious crime that's 18 USC, right? Which is the criminal code versus the immigration code. So that's number one. Number two, as far as sex trafficking goes, it's actually fairly hard to prove. A lot of the times when people think that they got a sex trafficking case, and I know this because I've been on so many of these different raids, is what ends up happening is you bust a prostitution ring, right? You thought, oh yeah, we had these girls are being trafficked, whatever. You talk to them and they all love their pimp. They don't want to cooperate. They don't want to say that they were being held or whatever. Some of them are lying to protect them. Some of them were trafficked or whatever. But the point is that it's very difficult to get witnesses because sometimes they don't want to necessarily cooperate. So what ends up is you just end up getting everyone arrested for solicitation charges, right? Ends up being just a prostitution ring bust. Now, the way to get around that though, right, which is how the feds come in a lot of the times, is if the girls are under 18, it's an automatic human trafficking charge.
Wow.
Automatic.
Why
so
automatic?
That's where they're going to get them. Is some of these girls, from what I understand, were under 18 at the time when Diddy was messing with them and bringing them around in different states.
Okay.
I think they're going to get them. I mean, I'll have to look at the indictment to see, but this is my prediction.
Okay, let me interject and add. So on one of the particular civil cases that he has is that there was a young woman who was 17 that was supposedly, she met someone that worked for his label. That person said, hey, I think Diddy would like you. They called Diddy. Diddy spoke to the girl, spoke to the person, and then within a matter of hours, the girl got on a private jet to fly to Diddy and allegedly was around him. By the way, this girl, I'll post it here. I'll send you a link if you want to show it on, your stream.
Yeah, please.
Or you could even Google 17-year-old Diddy. There's multiple articles about it. Her face is blurred out. She was seen sitting on his lap. Okay. There's a New York Post. I'll post it in the chat here. I don't know if whoever.
Okay. Yeah. Because Bill's on the computer, so he could do it.
All right. So Bills, you could just click from the chat. Is a chat between me and Myron. and it's a New York posting. It says Sean Diddy Combs accused of drugging and gang R-wording a 17-year-old in a new suit. There's photos of this girl sitting on his lap. Obviously, she's not shown for obvious reasons. She was 17 at the time. Her lawsuit against him says she was gang R-worded. But what's also very important is she was 17. Here's the important part. I think she was in, I believe, let me make sure, Detroit, I believe. And then he was either in New York. And let me just make sure, chat. I'm sorry. Yes, the woman says she met Pierre, who was an executive at Bad Boys Entertainment. So she met one of his workers in Detroit at a lounge. And then essentially he called Sean Diddy Combs on the phone and convinced the teen to fly to New York City. Before leaving the lounge, they said the worker took her to the bathroom where he smoked crack with her and apparently had her have sex with him first. Then he put her in a private jet from Pontiac, Michigan. She landed in Teterboro, New Jersey, which this is where Jay-Z and everybody who got a private jet who goes to New York lands in Jersey at Teterboro. That's fact. And yeah, they drove to his studio, and she has pictures to prove she's with him. Would that be considered as sex trafficking?
Yeah, that's a cut and dry human trafficking right there at the federal level, because she's not 18. He moved her in between states. That affects interstate commerce. So that's where they're going to get them. And I know some of the audience here might be shocked by me saying that human trafficking isn't as prevalent as people think, but it really isn't. It's really the human smuggling that is the extremely common thing that people tend to conflate, because they're two completely different crimes. But the big way, and I know this from being on human trafficking task forces and working with these guys closely, a lot of the times when they do these busts, what ends up happening is it's prostitution ring, and they don't want to cooperate against a pimp. They're not really being abused. They're doing it willingly and they're of age. However, if they catch a girl there that's underage, then it morphs into human trafficking automatically, because that woman can't consent.
I have a question.
That's how they get the nexus.
If the girl lied about her age, does that matter?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So if she's 17 and she was being and there was a pimp and she was being prostituted, it's automatic human trafficking charge, and the feds will take that almost always. And the two biggest agencies that investigate human trafficking are Homeland Security Investigation, HSI, and the FBI.
Okay. Also, what about this? In different states, there's different ages of consent.
Yeah.
So on a state level, I believe, and we could Google it for New York age of consent
Might be 17.
That is 17. Now, that's statewide. Obviously, the national age of consent federally is 18. Could Diddy have an argument to say, well, she came here willingly and the age of consent in New York is 17?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if his legal team doesn't try it. But they're gonna say, hey, federally it's 18. So we'll see what happens. And I think that's where he's gonna have to pay his defense team the big bucks to make that argument in court for him.
So another big part of what Myron was saying, because he was on live with academics, he said that Diddy, if he cooperates, could be looking at 10 to 30 years. And if he doesn't cooperate, he could be looking at somewhere around 40 plus years. All right. This is crazy. I think a lot of us saw this coming. And he was also saying, hey, when they arrest you, it's pretty much over. A lot of people feel like Diddy is going down. So many things have been said about Diddy for the last couple of months. I know some of those girls from Danity Kane just started to speak out. Dawn, we had the $100 million judgment. He's dealing with a lot all at once, and now he was just arrested. So we'll have some updates, I want to say, tomorrow about this. If anything else comes that I think I should share with y'all know I will let y'all know. Let me know what y'all think about this. Like the video and subscribe. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.